Good morning. Welcome to Mantra 108, where we're working our way through our 8-syllable Viṣṇu mantra. Today is day number 19 of our 21-day practice. So we're getting very close to the end of our 21 days. And so hopefully you've been experiencing, those of you who've been with me this whole time, you've been experiencing the benefits of not only this 21-day practice, but the two previous 21-day practices that we've been doing together. Practicing mantra can be very much like, in the beginning, very much like putting on a life jacket so that you can lay back and enjoy the buoyancy of the water rather than frantically treading the water. So this is a beginning benefit of our mantra practice. And then later we get so many other juicy benefits from just coming to our altar, coming to our seat, coming to the space that you've created in your home, to give yourself the gift of a daily practice of mantra. So one of the things, of course, that we've been doing, excuse me just a moment, let me sip a little more tea. As you know, I've been doing a lot of crying over the past few days over the loss of my precious border collie, Ringo. So I'm still a little congested. It'll go away after another couple of days, I think. So we've been talking about the kleshas. The kleshas are these mental, emotional afflictions that we have. And there are 5 kleshas. And so we've talked about 2 of them. We've talked about avidya, which is just a lack of awareness. And this happens to be the klesha that underlies the rest of them. We've talked about asmita, our egotism, our ego, and, well, not our ego, because our ego is good, but our egotism, if we get stuck in our ego of either believing that we are better than we are or that we're less than we are, our egotism can come in the way of not being self-assured, not, thinking that we're less than others, less than we truly are. Today we talk about raga. Raga is the desire for previously experienced pleasures. It's our clinging to these past pleasures that is raga. Now, as a musician, this is a little confusing to me at first when I started to study the kleshas, because I identify raga as the beautiful musical compositions within classical Indian music that I love so much. So how did that connect? Well, you'll see as I read a little bit about what Nikolai Bachman says about raga, this idea of clinging to past pleasures and how this gets us into trouble as well. So he says, when we have an experience that is pleasurable, it's natural to desire it again. An attachment is formed. If the desire cannot be fulfilled, causing pain or discomfort, then raga has manifested in us. This suffering, this dukkha, suffering, is happening because we're attached to a previously experienced pleasure. So the attachment is the important part here to remember. We're attached to the desire for that previous experience. Of this attachment, then we can avoid the associated dukkha, the associated suffering. Raga is one of the most powerful causes of suffering, and therefore one of the most difficult causes to weaken and overcome. It contains within it the fear of not experiencing something again. The word raga can mean coloring, and an experience can color or leave a stain on our psyche. Raga can arise due to any sensory or emotional attachment. Just as certain colors attract our eyes again and again, sensory pleasures can attract our attention repeatedly until we form an attachment to them. A raga is also like a musical mode that steers our mood, seducing our consciousness into its emotional zone. This is what the raga does in classical Indian music. Hindustani classical music is all about the emotional tenor of the raga. When we experience a pleasurable event, a memory is created, one that colors our heart, mind, by making us desire that experience again. Each time we repeat the event, the memory is strengthened. The more intense the pleasure, the stronger the memory. This memory can create a habit or addiction, a pleasure stain that remains and influences our future action. Our habits or attachments may be stronger than we realize, and they can involve our senses and our emotions. For example, a sweet tooth seems mild, yet an attachment to eating sweets can be a very tough attachment to overcome. That's the truth. I ate cookies last night. I have to admit I've been stress eating over these past few days of experiencing and letting myself sink into my grief. So I've been eating cookies that I don't normally eat. So I can attest to this tough attachment to overcome, this attachment to eating sweets. It can prevent a well-intended weight loss by causing us to eat high-calorie sweets that negate the effects of other dietary improvements. The scent of a cologne or essential oil can create attraction, as can simply seeing a beautiful person. Hearing a harmonious melody or an angelic voice makes us want to hear more of it. Receiving an extraordinary massage or being touched in a powerful way forms a visceral memory that fuels our desire to feel that touch again. Strong habits and addictions are even harder to break. An addiction to narcotics or alcohol can cause all kinds of pain and suffering for us and for those around us. Behavioral patterns such as attracting the same kind of personality for a relationship, even though we know that this type of personality is not healthy for us to be around, that can also be addictive. Habitual patterns of behavior, these are called samskaras, these habitual patterns. Samskaras, They're formed by raga more than by any other klesha. So these habitual patterns that do not serve us are formed by this idea of raga, this idea of clinging to our past behaviors that don't serve us well. We can apply Kriya Yoga action in this situation to weaken raga. When we muster the strength to break away from the easy road of following our long-standing tendencies, and we instead listen to our inner voice telling us not to return to the past and to move ahead with our life, then tapas is happening. We talked about tapas when we were talking about the yamas and niyamas. Tapas is one of the yamas, and it is fiery discipline. It's our ability to really discipline ourselves, even when it's very, very difficult. Discipline ourselves away from the ragas and out of our samskaras, these habitual habits. Resisting a powerful habit can be difficult and uncomfortable. Svadhyaya, which we also talked about when we were talking about the yamas and niyamas. So svadhyaya is this idea of self-study or self-observation, really being keenly aware of our habits, of our practices, of our kleshas, our problematic behavior. So resisting a powerful habit can be difficult and uncomfortable. Svadhyaya, self-observation, allows us to observe our emotions from a distance and listen to the advice of friends and family. Ishvara pranidhana, which we also talked about when we talked about the yamas and niyamas. Ishvara pranidhana is the letting go of this unhealthy relationship and having faith, surrendering. Remember, it's the idea of surrender. Having faith or surrendering. Having faith that life will be okay without it, without this negative habit. Desire is fine as long as we are not attached to its fulfillment. If not being able to reenact a pleasurable experience upsets us, then raga has been activated. Desire is like a fire. It is always burning, and the satisfaction of desires, like the result of any action, must be let go. Our outer wants and ambitions change over time. It's part of the continuous flux of the universe. Turning our attention inward and experiencing our inner light of awareness, that purusha that we talked about, naturally diminishes our outer desires and cultivates vairagya. Wishing to become better people and improve our lives is healthy and necessary for moving forward on our journey. All right, so let's do our practice for today, which is part of our discipline. It's part of our tapas, to make sure that we come to our seat every day, we come to our mala every day, and we practice our mantra. This is helpful in overcoming raga. So go ahead and close your eyes. Lengthen up through your crown. Drop your shoulders down, away from your ears. Begin to soften. Soften your skin. Soften your muscles. Perhaps create a little intention for your practice this morning, an intention of softening a raga, a desire that you may be clinging to. Set an intention for aligning with your Purusha, your inner light of awareness. We'll take an inhale together to begin. Auṁ Namo Nārāyaṇāya. 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 Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Sit in the vibration of your sound. That brings us to the end of our practice today. So I would like to encourage you to sit with this idea of this klesha of raga, the idea that we are clinging to past pleasurable experiences. So what this does is it prevents us from living in the present moment. It keeps us anchored to the past. And at the same time, I think it keeps us anxious or grasping at the future, yeah? We're anchored to the past because we have these pleasurable experiences that we love and remember, and we're wanting them again, so we're grasping for them again rather than being moment with ourselves, with our Purusha, our inner light of awareness. Yeah, so raga, this klesha can rob us in many ways. All right, I'll leave you with those thoughts. Have a wonderful day. I will see you tomorrow morning. We only have 2 days left in this practice. All right. Have a wonderful day, everybody.